Everything continues when Qui-Gon and Anakin officially begin their training. If you're not sure why the story starts here, go check out part 1, which is on my channel, linked in the description and also up here. From the beginning, Anakin already shows his abilities by mastering advanced Force techniques. Everything seems to follow a similar path to the original story, with the big difference being that Qui-Gon is now his master instead of Obi-Wan. But that's not the only thing that changes. This time, Anakin doesn't live in fear or anguish for his mother since he can visit her twice a year along with Qui-Gon. This allows him to grow with greater emotional stability. During the training, it's not just Anakin who learns. Qui-Gon also grows as a master, since he had never seen the Force manifest so purely. Anakin is not an ordinary boy, nor a typical Padawan. Guiding him properly becomes a delicate task. For this, he also has Obi-Wan's help. Although now a Jedi Knight, Obi-Wan still joins them on missions and training sessions. Thanks to not being Anakin's direct master, the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin is more fraternal, more relaxed, almost like brothers. Over time, Anakin manages to master abilities that many Jedi never achieve in their entire lives. For example, he can heal minor wounds with the Force. He doesn't yet have the power to heal mortal injuries, but it's important to remember he's still a teenager. The truly important shift happens when Anakin approaches 19 years old, around the time of Episode 2. At this point, Anakin is already capable of defeating Obi-Wan in friendly duels and even matching Qui-Gon. In one of those training sessions, Obi-Wan manages to corner him, and under pressure, Anakin, without knowing how, releases Crimson Force lightning from his entire body. Obi-Wan is left on the ground, nearly unconscious. Qui-Gon, who had been watching the fight, immediately rushes to check on Obi-Wan. Looking at Anakin, he sees a look of regret and fear on his face, something he has never seen before. Anakin looks at his hands, not understanding what he just did, and goes into shock, afraid he may have hurt someone he cares about. Qui-Gon comforts him and assures him Obi-Wan will be fine, promising they'll discover together how to control that power. Meanwhile, in the shadows, Palpatine and Count Dooku continue with their own plans. In this timeline, Dooku has also fallen to the dark side, disillusioned with the ideals of the Jedi Order. Although Qui-Gon doesn't agree with his former master's decision, he does not hate him. As in Episode 2, Palpatine wants Padme out of the picture. The Jedi Council sends Anakin and Obi-Wan to protect her, as both already know her. Qui-Gon doesn't go with them this time, as he chooses to stay at the Jedi Temple to investigate exactly what happened with Anakin's lightning. And so, just like in the original story, Anakin and Padme reunite. As in the canon, a bounty hunter tries to assassinate Padme, but Anakin is alert and saves her. They chase the bounty hunter, and when they catch her, another bounty hunter shoots her with a dart, leaving her dead in the Jedi's hands. After this, Anakin and Obi-Wan part ways. Obi-Wan goes after the second bounty hunter, while Anakin travels with Padme to Naboo to protect her. Before they each go their way, they meet with Qui-Gon. He tells Anakin that he hasn't yet fully discovered the origin of the Crimson Lightning and that he will keep investigating. He also warns him not to lose control and asks him to stay calm in extreme situations, as he could hurt someone he loves. Anakin agrees and says goodbye. Obi-Wan, for his part, tells Qui-Gon not to worry about Anakin and bids farewell to his master. Anakin and Padme arrive in Naboo. There, something similar to the canon happens. The two have a moment of closeness, but decide it's not a good idea and go to sleep separately. However, that night, Anakin has visions of his mother in danger. When he wakes up, he remembers it's been almost a year since he visited her and decides he must ensure she's okay. He convinces Padme to accompany him, and the two set off for Tatooine. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan heads to a mysterious planet, Kamino. There he finds Jango Fett, the bounty hunter he was looking for. Jango tries to escape and succeeds, but Obi-Wan throws a tracker and begins to follow him. Anakin and Padme arrive in Tatooine. Anakin goes to his old home where he finds his mother's husband, but not his mother. He asks where she is, and the man tells him she was taken by the Tusken Raiders and he doesn't know exactly where, but gives him a direction to go. Without hesitation, Anakin grabs a speeder and heads there, furious, but remembers Qui-Gon's words and manages to calm himself a bit. Upon arriving, he finds his mother in one of the huts, tied up and near death. Tears fill Anakin's eyes. He runs to untie her and takes her in his arms. This time, he manages to stay calm and focused. Thanks to this, he heals her vital wounds, though not completely. He carries her and heads back to the speeder. On the way, some Tusken Raiders attack, but Anakin, without losing control, generates a protective force field that blocks all attacks. Once on the speeder, they return home. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan follows Jango's trail to Geonosis, where he discovers a secret meeting of the Separatists. There, to his surprise, he finds Dooku, one of his former masters. After confirming this information, Obi-Wan sends a transmission with the coordinates to Anakin. Since Anakin is no longer in Naboo, the transmission is cut, but he manages to identify the system Obi-Wan is in. In the message, Obi-Wan explicitly tells him not to come, that he is just sending the info for the Jedi Council. However, Padme insists on going to rescue him, and since Anakin's mission is to protect her, he has no choice but to go with her. Once in Geonosis, the same as in the canon happens. Obi-Wan is captured. Padme and Anakin, trying to rescue him, are forced to go through the droid factory conveyor belt, fighting against the Geonosians. This time, Anakin is more confident, but he still loses his saber. Even so, he takes down many enemies using only the Force. However, they are too many, and both end up cornered. At that moment, Anakin considers using the lightning he released during training but decides not to since Padme is with him and he doesn't want to hurt her. Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan are taken to be part of a spectacle before the Geonosians. Before that, Padme confesses her feelings to Anakin, and they share another intimate moment. Everything that follows happens just like in the canon. Jedi reinforcements arrive, and a massive battle breaks out. At first, the battle seems balanced, but the Geonosians and droids outnumber the Jedi. When all seems lost, Yoda arrives with the Republic's new army, the clones. Everything continues like the canon. The Jedi board ships and continue the battle from more strategic positions. Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme head to Dooku's palace to confront him. Along the way, the ship suffers turbulence from enemy fire. In a sharp movement, Padme falls from the ship, but this time, Anakin doesn't let her behind. Using the Force, he brings her back. This way, Anakin isn't burdened by emotional conflict during the confrontation with Dooku. The three reach Dooku's location, but Padme stays on the ship. Obi-Wan and Anakin face Count Dooku. This time, Anakin is more composed and doesn't attack rashly. The fight begins, and during the duel, Anakin proves to be up to the task. However, Dooku temporarily knocks him out with Force lightning. Obi-Wan tries to resist but fails. Dooku cuts off his arm and leaves him completely out of the fight. Anakin gathers strength and returns to the fight, now more focused, maintaining a balanced duel. He corners Dooku, who, with a swift move, strikes his arm. It should have been cut off, but Anakin, focused, manages to prevent it using the Force. Dooku is stunned. Anakin pushes him back with the Force but accidentally hits him with Crimson Lightning. Seeing Dooku out of the fight, Anakin looks at his hands, but this time he isn't too worried. He rushes to check on Obi-Wan, takes his hand, and uses the Force to reattach it to his arm. At that moment, Yoda arrives, surprised to see they defeated Dooku on their own. They return to Coruscant with Dooku as a prisoner for interrogation. The Jedi Council tries to use the Force to extract information, but Dooku doesn't yield, until Anakin tries. With a single attempt, Anakin gets all the information. The Council members are surprised, though not entirely, as they know his potential. Many begin to seriously think he might be the chosen one, especially after defeating Dooku alone. Anakin shares the information from Dooku with all the Jedi using the Force. Without hesitation, Mace Windu declares that Palpatine must be arrested immediately before he activates Order 66. Mace Windu, Yoda, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Anakin head to the Chancellor's office to arrest him. It's worth noting that in this timeline, Anakin and the Chancellor don't have a close relationship. To him, Palpatine is just the Chancellor. Qui-Gon has been the true father figure, preventing Anakin from being manipulated. The five Jedi confront Palpatine and announce his arrest. Realizing he has been exposed, Palpatine has no choice but to fight. He ignites 2 lightsabers and lunges at the Jedi. The battle begins, but he is clearly outmatched. Still, he finds an opening in Qui-Gon's defense and stabs him in the torso. Obi-Wan immediately rushes to him, but Qui-Gon dies in his arms. Anakin, completely enraged, screams in despair. His eyes glow with energy and lightning. He stretches out his arm and lifts Palpatine into the air with the Force, leaving him completely helpless. Then he channels all his energy and unleashes crimson lightning on him, rendering him unconscious. Quickly, Anakin goes to Qui-Gon with tears in his eyes. He knows he can heal wounds, but doubts he can bring someone back to life. Still, he closes his eyes, places a hand over Qui-Gon's wound, and begins channeling the Force. The wound begins to heal, but Qui-Gon shows no signs of life. The other Jedi approach, place a hand on Anakin's shoulder, and close their eyes. Together, they manage to bring Qui-Gon back to life. The galaxy is finally free of threats. The Jedi Council decides to promote Anakin from Padawan to Master, recognizing his mastery of the Force and his wisdom. Before it becomes official, Anakin confesses his relationship with Padme. However, the Council, seeing everything he has done, congratulates him and says there is no problem. They also decide to remove the inhibitor chip from all clones, ensuring they will never pose a threat. Anakin finally has everything he ever wished for. Years pass, and peace reigns in the galaxy thanks to him. Padme becomes pregnant with twins, Luke and Leia, who in the future will be accepted into the Jedi Order. In this story, Anakin has developed his full potential and achieved everything he dreamed of. He is now completely happy with his family, his mother, and the Jedi who always supported him. That's it for the story. Leave me a comment with your thoughts and some ideas for future videos. See you in the next one.